Hi, this is Raghee Horner, and thanks for joining me for another Raghee Report video. In this video, I'm going to talk specifically about some of the tools that I have written about in my 3 books. And for any of you that have read Forex on 5, it basically outlined how I can take a more part-time approach when I'm using multiple tools to manage my trading. Some of those tools include futures contracts. So for any of you that are familiar already with what I call Forextra or my Forex Market Pulse, you know that the dollar index, you know that the Dow, and let me pull these charts up here, are all part of my trading. So dollar index, the Dow, I'll talk about the Dow futures. You should be familiar with when I talk about crude, particularly mini crude or the full-size crude contract. I'll talk about gold, and you can do that through the XAU, or you can do that through the futures contract, the GC, the full-size gold contract, or even the mini gold, which would be the YG. Regardless of the symbol here, the one thing they all have in common, except for the XAU of course, is that they're all futures contracts. And the thing is, when you're dealing with futures contracts, when you're dealing with a market that does have an exchange, you will be likely dealing with delayed data, because the exchange will control the data, and if you're not paying the exchange for real-time data, they're going to put basically a time delay on what you're seeing on your chart. Now, that's probably not as important as understanding in general where the support, the resistance, what the trend is on these Forex Market Pulse charts. That's probably the most important thing. So I realize that many of you are curious as to where you can get this data, or even more so, how you can get a more holistic look at what's happening in the markets that affect the pairs that you're trading. And one of the solutions would be to go to a site called Finviz. Okay, Finviz.com, as you can see right here. This is a site that I became more familiar with as I worked more in depth with the folks at StockTwits. I'm one of the Forex experts over at StockTwits, and maybe you've caught my Forex AM or Forex EDU program over at StockTwits TV. One of the things that, if you are a fan of StockTwits, you can get the StockTwits plugin for Chrome and for Firefox. And one of the things you'll notice is if someone's linked a symbol in their tweet, it will link up to a chart that will pop up on a rollover, and it comes from Finviz. So I wanted to show you how you can use Finviz. It's a free service. You notice you can log in. I've got a free account with Finviz, which allows you to create portfolios and customize lists and so forth. But I'm just going to show you how you can use Finviz right off the bat without even doing any of that. Now, I do recommend you get the free login because you will get more customization. But if you go to Finviz.com, logged in or not, you'll see this list of this list of markets that you can access. What I would tell you to do is head on over to the futures link, click on it, and what you'll get is like a heat map of some popular futures contracts. And within this map, you'll notice that there are a number of, there's the popover chart I was talking about, there are a number of markets that I think Forex traders should be aware of. And obviously, just understanding what the Dow Jones is doing, whether it's strong, whether it's weak, it's up, is it down, what's the trend, is very important, because the Dow Jones Industrial Average is, psychologically speaking, the best gauge for equities risk appetite or risk aversion. Okay, you can see in the energies sector here, or area, there's crude oil. Crude oil is the king of commodities. Yes, gold is doing great, but crude oil really has an impact, the value of crude oil, on all commodities, because whether you're transporting, growing, harvesting, mining, whatever it is, crude oil is going to have a place in your tangible, your true commodities. Okay? Sugar, lumber, pork bellies, lean hogs, metals, cocoa, juice, cotton, whatever it is, crude oil is going to have a place in those physical commodities. Other markets you can consider, I mean, obviously gold. A lot of people are either trading gold, looking at gold for risk appetite, risk aversion, and so forth. Obviously that's here in the list. Okay, then you have a number of your commodities here, currencies, under the commodities section. One of the commodities or currencies under the commodities section, the first 4 rows you'll notice are the indices, and then metals, grains, meats, softs, bonds, currencies, and then you have the US dollar. Probably the most important of my Forextra, my Forex Market Pulse. You can see it gives you a lot of information, COT information, which is the commitment of traders. You understand the long and short positions in the market. Okay, and you can also look at it intraday, daily, weekly. So it gives you an idea of the price action. It's a very good tool in terms of being able to have, at least in some way, your finger on the pulse of the market. Now this delay is, I believe, about 30 minutes, and that is the downside, unless you're going to pay the Intercontinental Exchange, the ICE, for real-time data, which is something that I do, and you'll notice that I've got that information on my e-signal when I do pull that up. I'm willing to pay for this because this is the rent. This is my overhead. Having this information is very important to me. But until you've learned how to incorporate this information into your own trading, having Finviz is an excellent substitute. And then eventually, if you decide, hey, I'd like this information, great. Okay, Finviz is a great substitute. All right. Another alternative, and this was one that was brought to my attention from a fellow student, actually another trader, actually one of my best friend's husbands. He was on the lookout for other ways to get this data, the dollar index and crude and other commodities. And while I know nothing about the brokerage, I just want to share with you information that was passed on to me by other traders. There is another place, actually this is an MT4, a version of MT4 that you can download that actually has what appears to be real-time futures data. Okay, again, let me make it perfectly clear, I have no affiliation with this company at all. I just was made aware of the fact that they do have this information on their version of MT4, and that's a site called, I believe it's Broco, or BROCO. And you can see here they have the MT4 version. You can look up Broco Trader MT4, and again, I don't have an account with these people. This is basically a version of MT4 that does have futures, and I have downloaded it just to confirm. So here's an example of the Broco Trader 4.0 that, like I said, actually my best friend's husband told me about after he scoured the web looking for just an alternative. And here's actually the dollar index continuous contract. And if you'll notice, the price right now is showing 74.06, and I do pay for the exchange data, and you'll notice 74.06. So I've been an e-signal user for 17 years, I guess it is now, and they've been a trading partner for me for a long time. I've got custom indicators that run on this platform. So again, I'm not going to stray from e-signal, which is a trusted data source for me, but I also realize that not everyone's going to want to plunk down the $400 a month in exchange fees and so forth either, until they've found how to make this information work, this Forextra, this Forex Market Pulse work for them. And I can appreciate that, which is why I bring up the Broco. It's not my first choice, but I realized that I'd rather you use these tools than not. So that's why I want to share with you the Finviz. That's why I want to share with you the Braco, and this way it gives you some choices. Okay, that's what it's all about here, giving you some choices so you can get this information. You notice that on the Braco, I've got my grab candles running. The grab candles that you can download from RagheeHorner.com, and I'll go ahead and make the files available from the RagheeReport.com as well. But for now, if you head on over to RagheeHorner.com, type in a search for Grab 2.0, you'll be able to get the, when you do a search for it, you'll get a list. I think you can do Grab 2.0 or Grab and you'll get the download here somewhere. Be nice if it was working for me. I'm pretty sure it's a Grab 2.0 search. There we go. So Grab 2.0, and there we go. There's a tutorial, as well as the updated plugin, which you put into your library. For those of you that are familiar with putting in these files manually, this will be a breeze. The tutorial walks you through it for those of you that don't know. A quick tip, regardless of what platform you use, right-click the chart, go to Properties, make sure that under the Properties Common tab that you do not have Chart on the foreground checked. Again, that you do not have Chart on the foreground checked. So there are a number of ways to get this information, and hopefully this will give you a couple alternatives that you can check out. If you like this video, there's more like it at RagheeReport.com. See you in the next video.